Behind every song you love, every artist you follow, every playlist you create, there's a shadow you probably don't see. You think you're choosing your music freely. You think these labels compete against each other. But they're all controlled by one company, Universal Music Group. UMG controls around a third of the global music industry, through labels like Def Jam, Capitol, Republic, Island, and Interscope. With artists ranging from the Beatles to Taylor Swift, UMG doesn't just participate in the music industry, it shapes what the world hears. Most fans think they're choosing between different labels and artists. They believe they're supporting independent, competing companies. But UMG owns and controls much of it behind the scenes. This creates an illusion of choice, while UMG maintains unprecedented control over what music gets promoted, distributed, and ultimately heard. The company doesn't just own the music, it owns the entire pipeline. From artist development to streaming playlist placement, UMG's influence extends into every corner of how music reaches your ears. UMG's aggressive copyright takedowns on YouTube have become legendary for their ruthlessness. Content creators worldwide have faced the company's copyright system. Small creators find themselves powerless against UMG's legal machinery, often losing years of work to false or overly aggressive claims. Even videos using music under fair use for criticism, teaching, or review face immediate takedowns. The company's approach prioritizes profit protection over fair use rights. Countless creators have been forced to remove content, lost monetization, or abandon projects entirely due to UMG's aggressive tactics. Accusations of unfair streaming payouts have plagued UMG for years. Artists report receiving fractions of pennies per stream, while UMG retains the majority of streaming revenue. While artists struggle to make living wages from their art, UMG executives profit enormously from the same streams. Industry insiders describe UMG's contracts as deliberately complex, designed to maximize corporate profits while minimizing artist compensation. The company takes cuts as label, distributor, and rights holder, leaving artists with minimal compensation for their creative work. Multiple artists have publicly criticized these practices, but UMG's market dominance makes it nearly impossible to avoid their terms. UMG's history includes involvement in historical payola scandals. Payola, the practice of paying radio stations for airplay, has deep roots in the music industry. While officially illegal, the practice evolved into more sophisticated forms of influence peddling that continue today. Today's payola takes the form of playlist placement, promotional partnerships, and marketing spend that smaller labels can't match. UMG's massive resources allow it to influence what gets heard through legitimate but ethically questionable promotional spending. This creates an uneven playing field where UMG's financial power determines musical success more than artistic merit. UMG's recent fight with TikTok over licensing revealed the company's willingness to hold popular platforms hostage. When negotiations broke down, UMG removed its entire catalog from TikTok, silencing millions of videos overnight. Content creators and users became casualties in UMG's licensing war, losing access to music that had become integral to their content. The dispute demonstrated UMG's power to cripple social media platforms by withdrawing content. UMG's strategy of using content withdrawal as leverage shows how the company weaponizes its catalog against platforms and users alike. The TikTok standoff served as a warning to other platforms about UMG's willingness to disrupt user experiences for corporate gain. UMG's abusive practices extend far beyond copyright and licensing disputes. Multiple high-profile artists have filed lawsuits against UMG, citing breach of contract, withheld royalties, and manipulation of accounting practices. Industry experts describe UMG's accounting practices as deliberately opaque, designed to minimize payments to artists while maximizing corporate profits. The company's aggressive catalog acquisition strategy has been criticized for undervaluing artists' life work. Artists who sold their catalogs to UMG often received far less than the long-term value the company extracts from their music. These acquisitions often include clauses that further limit artists' control over their own creative legacy. UMG's market dominance systematically crushes independent labels and emerging artists. The company uses its massive resources to outbid independents for talent, undercut their distribution deals, and monopolize promotional opportunities. This consolidation reduces musical diversity and eliminates the alternative pathways that once allowed unique voices to reach audiences. UMG's influence extends beyond just owning music. The company has tentacles throughout the entire entertainment ecosystem. Through strategic partnerships and ownership stakes, UMG influences not just what music gets made, but how it's distributed, promoted, and consumed. The company's relationships with streaming platforms give it unprecedented power over algorithmic recommendations that shape musical taste worldwide. What appears to be a diverse, competitive music landscape is actually a carefully orchestrated system designed to maximize UMG's profits and control. From their corporate headquarters, UMG shapes not just individual careers, but the entire direction of global musical culture. The numbers don't lie. UMG's control over what the world hears is more complete than most people realize. UMG's market dominance has led to an increasingly homogenized musical landscape where corporate-approved sounds dominate. The musical experimentation and diversity that once defined popular music has been replaced by algorithmic optimization and market research. Art has been reduced to data points and profit margins, with UMG's influence determining which voices get heard and which are silenced. Countless artists with unique voices and innovative sounds remain unheard because they don't fit UMG's profitable formulas. Entire genres and musical traditions face extinction when they don't serve UMG's commercial interests. The infrastructure that once supported musical diversity crumbles under the weight of corporate consolidation. Breaking UMG's stranglehold on the music industry requires supporting alternative platforms and distribution methods. Artists and fans must actively seek out and support independent alternatives to UMG's corporate ecosystem. Technology exists to create a more equitable music industry, but it requires conscious effort to build and support these alternatives. Every streaming choice, concert ticket purchase, and music discovery decision either reinforces UMG's monopoly or supports musical diversity. The most powerful tool against corporate control is informed consumer choice and active support for independent artists. A thriving, diverse musical landscape is possible, but only if we actively choose to support it over corporate convenience. Universal Music Group's control over the global music industry continues to expand, with no signs of slowing down. The company's influence now extends into every corner of the world, shaping musical culture on a global scale. With each acquisition and partnership, UMG tightens its grip on what music the world gets to hear. The future of music depends on whether we accept UMG's corporate control or actively work to preserve musical diversity and artist independence. Every time you choose what music to stream, you're voting for the kind of music industry you want to exist. The power to break UMG's monopoly lies in your hands. The question is, will you use it?